Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode, I don't know what's happening, episode number 120 something. I've officially lost track again. If you want to know, peek behind the curtain, it is actually on the phone that I use to record this podcast, which is a very fancy way of saying my cell phone. It is new recording 237. I almost said 307. New recording 237. Now, I have not recorded 237 episodes of the podcast. I think we're about like halfway to that number. So I guess that means I recorded about 100, 150, maybe less recordings before I started recording the Nobody Asked for This podcast via cell phone, because I did try to be 100% honest. I did try and do like fancy, like actual recording equipment, and then it was just too sad because, like, you know, listen, as fun as I have talking to you all, there's not much all in you all. So it's like, am I really going to be like setting up a microphone, for this? But regardless, I hope everyone has had such a good day. I hope, what do I hope? I hope you're easing into the holiday season. We are at the point where we're in that weird week or two where it's like people are still complaining that it's too early to start celebrating the holidays and like start decorating and stuff. But you also have an argument now that it's not too early. We're like mid-November. And by the time you hear this, which is, if you listen to it in the exact moment it is released, about 2.5 hours, if you listen to this in 2.5 hours when it's released, because it's kind of last minute this week, just to be honest, because again, transparency, new recording 237, turning a new leaf. We're like even further into mid-November. And if you wait a day or two to listen to this, we are like almost past mid-November. So that is ample time to start celebrating the holidays. But not so ample that like you're so far ahead. And we're also far enough out, unfortunately, from Halloween and spooky times that it's like time to get round, I constantly, and I'm sure I talked about this last year, I constantly go back and forth of, let's start celebrating. No, I want to wait. Let's put up all the holiday decorations. No, let's give fall another week or two. Because really those two things can exist. Fall and full-on holidays, trees, mistletoes, and whatnot. Like those technically exist in the same time. So like, let's just embrace that. But for whatever reason, it feels like I'm abandoning what I love about the fall. And if you are a listener of the Nobody Asked for This podcast, you know I love two things. I love limited edition food items, and I love talking about how far or close we are to fall. I've literally been talking about fall since June, maybe July. And it's like coming to an end. We have like a month left to fall. That is so crazy. Time just flies. If only February would go as fast as October. We should be so lucky. But regardless, I'm going to be here, just talking about the weather. I am nowhere near outside. Well, I'm close to the wall, which leads to outside. So I guess I am near outside, but I'm going to be very quiet and we're going to do some ASMR. Maybe you can hear the rain. Ready? What you are hearing is not crappy iPhone audio. Well, it is. But what you're hearing, that like drippy noise in the background, is that sound is not crappy iPhone audio. That is rain. It is pouring rain. It goes back and forth between torrential downpour, torrential downpour, and sun. Here's the thing. I can adapt to weather. I live in a climate that's like mild in the grand scheme of things in terms of temperature, but like can vary. Like it could be 20 degrees it could be pouring rain, and those two weathers could occur within 2 hours of each other. So I can adapt. What I don't want to adapt to is hot and cold, like back to back to back, multiple times throughout the day. Like, if through the process of 1 week you want to rain one day, you want to be summer the next day, then do a little bit of fall, like I can live with that. My sinuses will be a mess. I'll be popping reacting like it's Tic Tacs. My Gen Z came out. That's fine. Like I can reason with the weather to a certain degree, but it's getting a little much. It is just getting a little much. And I want to address the elephant in the room. Yes, my air fryer box. I was talking last week how I got an air fryer and I just left the cardboard box. You know how you do that thing when you get a new appliance and you're like, I might return it. So like, let me just keep the box. And really it is just out of pure laziness. Like you're not returning it. You're not returning it. It's equivalent to when I do that thing where it's like, oh, I'm just going to let the dishes soak. I don't know that does anything. I don't know that letting your dish soak in lukewarm water and a little bit of Dawn soap is going to make it any easier to clean. I think it makes you feel better to think, oh, let me just let this soak. When really, the soaking's not doing anything, in my humble opinion. Now, I'll use that excuse every time to delay the process, but the soaking's not doing anything. And I'm definitely not returning this air fryer because I've used it too much, but I still am staring at the box. That's going to be my New Year's resolution for this week. I'm done doing the overarching New Year's resolutions, and I'm just going to do New Year's resolutions for the week. And yes, obviously I know it's technically not a New Year's resolution if it's for the week, but I like the term better. So I'm going to be taking the term and just sort of extracting all meaning and then applying it to the purpose that it would best serve me, which really is how things go here. So my New Year's resolution for next week is to recycle this box once and for all. Because there's also like an Amazon box that has somehow found itself. Oh, I said the A word. There's a delivery service, that thing that I try to avoid because I should, but it's also like a little bit too convenient, just to be honest. One of those boxes has piled onto the air fryer box, and I need to stop the spread, flatten the curve before it's just like box on box on box. Speaking of that company, it is almost Black Friday. And I just hope, let's all take a moment to, what is that called? Not marinate, manifest. We're going to manifest actual Black Friday. Okay, ready? Everyone. Now, what I mean by actual Black Friday is I want sales. I want flat screen TVs for $5. I want 90% off, 20% off from a price that you just raised the week prior. 20% is not a Black Friday deal. So let me just say this. Everyone be vigilant these next couple weeks because the inflation is going to inflate even more so that it can deflate back to the price that it was originally. But then they can tell you that they're giving you 30% off. They're not. Black Friday is every Friday on some of these websites, except like the next 2 Fridays that actually aren't Black Friday because, like I said, they need to make the prices go up so it looks like they went down. I'm not letting them outsmart me this year. They've done it before. I'm sure they'll do it again in a different context. But like, I got my eye on you. You can't see, but I did that like eye to, when you like take your 2 fingers and you eye and you pointed at them. That's what I did. Just imagine it. It looked really cool. If I do say so myself. But yeah, I'm not falling for it anymore. I think that is going to be my New Year's resolution actually for next year, is like I'm just not falling for it anymore. Because I am I'm not gullible I'm gullible almost by choice. Like, I just, like, sometimes would rather just believe what you're telling me. And then kind of in the back of my head know, like, okay, maybe we need to fact check this later. But I don't always get to the fact checking. So in that way, I'm a little bit gullible. But, like, I'm gonna stop that. I'm gonna start, like, calling people out. Not in a confrontational way. Just in a... Okay, sorry. I'm not gonna call people out. I'm gonna call them out, like, internally. Like, I'm gonna do the research and see, like, is this correct? And then if it's not, I'm not gonna say anything. At least to the person. I might say something to you all afterward, but I'm just gonna know the truth in my mind. And that's what I wish for everybody. Just know the truth in your mind. I don't know where I'm going with this. I feel like I'm sounding like I'm starting a cult. I'm not. I'm not a cult. I would just do terrible in a cult in any position. Leader, I'd be a horrible cult leader. Follower, horrible follower. I'd probably be a better follower, but I really just don't want to. I just don't want my life to take that turn. But regardless, I feel like I've said this 19 times, but I hope everyone has had a great week. Stay tuned for 20 minutes from now when I wish you a good week. You know, I never follow up on that. I end every episode saying, I hope you all have a great week. But, like, I never truly sit down and ask, like, did you have a good week? So I'm going to take a second and say, how was your week last week? Like, not just, like, the week that you listened to this. Like, specifically that week last week that I wished you a good one. Was it good? This is your moment of silence. Was it good? And you can respond. This is your part. This is your line, your moment. And that's how you make a half-hour podcast by yourself. Long chunks of silence. Okay, I do actually have some content. I tried a surprisingly delicious snack. And not surprising because I love all these things. For some reason, I've been in a big sub sandwich kick. And if we're being honest, I usually go Subway. Only because where I am, like, Subway is what we have. Well, that's not the only reason. I love Subway. Subway is one of those things, they're just such a staple. And I feel like they don't really join the rat race of... I might have talked about this already, but I'm just going to do a quick debrief of this thought and recap of this thought if I haven't talked about this yet. And then if I have, it'll be fast and we can pretend that this never happened. But the thing with Subway is they don't need to join the rat race of, like, spicy dill pickle, hot honey. Here's our version of a fried chicken sandwich, which I love all of those things. But every fast food restaurant, like, one of them will do it and then they all have to copy. The thing with Subway is it's such a part of just like it, and maybe this is just to me, but I feel like it really is the one fast food that, like, if you were getting fast food, you felt like you were being healthy. So it's maybe more likely that if you were a family that got fast food, you were getting Subway. And for whatever reason, the order that your parents decided for you when you were 7 is the order that you get for the rest of your life. It's very much like your guardian angel. Like, you were assigned a Subway order at birth, and, like, that birth... Like, did you ever see the movie Twitches? When, like, the Twitches were assigned those, like, people to help them. And even though I think there was a recast situation from Twitches 1 to Twitches 2, in theory, it was the same person. So you were assigned this protector at birth, and, like, that's it. That's who you get. You're also assigned, if you're a family that went to Subway, you're assigned a Subway order, and you can be 10 years old, you can be 15 years old, you can be 28 years old, you can be 80 years old. I don't know if Subway's old enough to have 80-year-old patrons who started when they were newborns, or, like, I guess, like, 2. But the Subway order you got in elementary school when they did, if your school did, like, where they would give you, like, takeout, like, that is the order you're getting for the rest of your life. So to Subway, like, they don't have to change anything. Even though I think they recently did, like, a big overhaul of their menu. I don't know why they did that. It was unnecessary. They obviously did not do the research that I did to find that you are ordering the same order at 10 as you are at 50. Like, you just are. And there's something beautiful about that. And there's something special about that. And I brought all of this up to say, I love Subway. But what I'm going to tell you is that I went to a different sandwich shop and got a pickle witch. I believe it was called Jimmy John's, which I had heard before and is popular. The Jimmy John's and Jersey Mike's, I'm going to need a little bit of a separation between the two. You sound too similar. Also, from the vibe that I get, Jimmy John's is less, we're going to walk you through the process and you're going to tell us what you want, and more like, hi, can I order, blank sandwich? I'm sure there is a little bit of customization that you can do. I've never been to a Jersey Mike's. I can only dream to one day make it there. Seems delicious. Heard great things about the number 13. But I can speak a little bit to Jimmy John's, even though I only ordered on the app, and it didn't seem like they were really down for me to add things. Now, that could have been because I was ordering the Pickle Witch, which, if anyone doesn't know what the Pickle Witch is, it is a probably like half a foot long pickle that is big enough that you can cut into it, and it acts as the bread in this sandwich. And let me tell you, I was a little bit skeptical. They had a turkey version and they had a salami version. And I went with the salami version, as I normally do. I enjoy a salami sandwich. It was salami, it was capicola, it was provolone. And then there was an options for like onion. I took the onion out because I'm already going to smell like pickle. I don't need to smell like onion. Because I think it's just like raw white onion, which, if that's your thing, amazing. Not so much for me. I don't get onions at Subway either. Because for some reason, I'm not like a particularly smelly person, I have to say, if I do say so myself. Now, I have talked before about how smell and taste are my two weakest senses, or senses. It's not sense. Freudian slip. So maybe I'm just not getting it, but I'll touch an onion and I'll start sweating onion. So I just kind of stay away from onion. So I took the onion out. There was like a oregano, and then I said that really weird. There was oregano, and some sort of like an olive oil blend. It was delicious, is what it was. And you would think like, okay, like this is a snack. And it is. Like, you're not like half a foot long pickle sandwich, like, is not filling anybody up for the most part. I'll speak for myself. It's not filling me up, but it was a lovely snack. And the salami was great. And it was a good amount of meat. I was thinking it was going to be like mostly pickle with like maybe some leftover, and I think there was some lettuce and tomato involved, with like maybe like 3 pieces of salami. But no, it was like it was good. I enjoyed it. And apparently it's around for a very, very limited time, which is essentially why I had to race to get it. But as much as I would love to recommend it, I actually don't think that they have it anymore, because I believe it was getting withdrawn around mid-November. So not to promote something, this is not sponsored, but not to promote something that no one can get anymore, but that's kind of what I did. Which, speaking of things no one can get anymore, I recently found out that Costco is changing their muffins. So I immediately went to the store in a panic and bought a pack of chocolate muffins, a pack of blueberry muffins. Oh no, I didn't do the chocolate because I did some research, and apparently they're going. So here's the format of a Costco muffin for anyone that doesn't know, in the traditional sense. You have to do, Costco loves to do, especially in their bakery, like, you cannot buy one of something. You have to buy 2 of something. So you have to buy a 2-pack of muffins, and you think, okay, that's not so bad. It's 6 muffins. Now, these muffins are huge. So you have to buy a 2-pack of 12, or like 6, so a total of 12 huge muffins. Now, they are delicious, no problem. They have various flavors, but the staples have always been chocolate, blueberry, and then some sort of a poppy seed. They've had banana, they've had chocolate chip, they've had one of my favorites. I'll always have a soft spot for the blueberry and the chocolate, but they've had an apple crumble one, which is really good. And then this is separate. They do cakes. They do like red velvet cakes and stuff, those mini like cinnamon roll cakes. That's not what I'm talking about. This is the muffins. Just to clarify. And they do like the carrot cakes. That's a whole separate thing, whole separate program they have running. But for the muffins, I heard that they were changing it from, instead of you having to buy 2 6-packs of huge muffins, you buy, for literally $10.99, which is nuts. Like, that's less than a coffee shop order for like one little muffin. But instead of the regular format, they're switching to, you get 8 smaller muffins for like $7 or something. And they have a chocolate, but their blueberry is changing, and their almond poppy seed is no more. So I ran to Costco and got a pack of blueberry, and then I was debating. I did a whole lap around the store debating, do I get chocolate or do I get almond poppy seed? Now, chocolate, staple, I love it. Happy to report, I've actually tried from a different location the new chocolate muffin, and it tastes very similar, if not exactly the same, to the traditional. So I'm glad that I went with the almond poppy seed muffin, which I have not tried yet. And I'm not a big poppy seed person, and I've seen enough Ozark to know that like poppy seeds are like, aren't there like drug connections? I don't know. Which I stay away from. So I haven't tried the almond poppy seed, but I've heard good things. And I can't wait to try them. So I bought 12 huge muffins. I'm one person, so I will be freezing most of those muffins. And I just felt the need to share that. So if you are a lover of the traditional Costco muffins, you got to get to the store before it's too late, because time is ticking. I hate to tell you. I'm nervous about it too, but listen, I think we can brace this transition together, and we ultimately will be fine. It'll be a period of transition. And if anyone has any tips on how to best freeze a muffin, let me know. And I have to do that ASAP because I bought them like 2 days ago, and I want them to be fresh from frozen. But yeah, actually I can put them in the air fryer to heat them up. See, this is all going full circle. I love when that happens. It so rarely does. So many things, it's like semicircle and then it falls off. We're getting the full circle here today on New Recording 237, episode number 120-something of the Nobody Asked for This podcast. I feel like I haven't talked about Trader Joe's in a minute, and that's because I haven't been in a minute. Which, the only thing worse than not going to Trader Joe's regularly is that when you get back to Trader Joe's and you get to go again, it's like a new experience. Like, there's all new things. Now, I'm planning on going soon. So hopefully in the next episode, I can talk to you about how I have cleared all the cardboard from my very fancy recording studio, aka basement B bank chair corner. But I can also tell you about all of the holiday-themed goods I got at Trader Joe's. Now, as I was saying, it's still a little bit early in the season to be buying holiday food. Like, we're kind of in the beginning, which for Trader Joe's is the perfect time to go because all of their stuff sells out by, like, American Thanksgiving. Like, it takes 2 seconds. They were out of pumpkin yogurt before I even went to the pumpkin patch. That's how fast their stuff sells. So I'm really excited to get to go. I'm going to go early. I'm going to buy all the things and then let you know what's worth it. I really do think in another life I should be, or heck, maybe even this one, who knows? I should be one of those people that reports live from the different grocery stores and says, like, you know, this is what's on for Trader Joe's this week, like, or this is the sales at Costco. If I didn't feel like that type of content was, like, we were at capacity for it, because it's all in my algorithm, my YouTube short algorithm. It's like all Costco prices for like Costco's that I don't go to, or like different districts of Costco or Trader Joe's, which I don't even exist in a country where we have Trader Joe's, although I have one accessible to me, thankfully. If I didn't feel like that was kind of the lane was covered, I would totally do that. That seems like a fun gig. just to be in Trader Joe's. Although probably a lot trickier than it seems to be like getting pictures of all the stuff and all the signs. And especially with Costco, like you probably wouldn't want to go peak hours, which for Costco, non-peak hours is like you have maybe 3 hours a week where there's not 50 kabillion people in the store. I don't know how those employees do it. I was always someone that when applying for a job, especially like high school or whatever, like just kind of looking for my first couple jobs, I would think like, how late does this store stay open? And how busy does it get? Because if I'm going to be making minimum wage, I might as well be, off at 7 and, not really working so hard, not to paint myself as such a hard worker, but I'm really giving a good impression of my work ethic here. But like, if I'm going to be making the same amount of money as someone who's like running around chasing customers in Costco, like, yeah, I'll work at, maybe an off-brand dollar store. And we're both making minimum wage, so like, what's the point? Now, you could argue working in a more fast-paced environment is like your day's just going to go faster. And that is true. That is the truth of the matter. But sometimes you got to make a choice. And the choice I usually made was close early. Not like earlier than I was supposed to, but like close early in terms of the day. And less busy. And I never looked back. Speaking of close early, if the Sun happens to be listening, not the newspaper, I think there's a newspaper called The Sun, but the thing that's in the sky, you gotta stop clocking out early. This is ridiculous. It'll be like the sun will be setting at 3 o'clock. I don't know what happened. I'm sure I talked about daylight losing time last week. It is so unfortunate. This daylight losing time in particular, like it is like pitch black, can't see anything by literally 4:30, and I don't remember it being like this. I don't know if it's just been like particularly rainy and that affects like the clouds. I don't know. My thesis is I don't know, but like it can't be dark. Like I can't arrive to work in the dark and leave work in the dark. Like this is not going to work for me. I'm not seeing daylight. And I know I said how much I liked Halloween season, but I'm not a vampire. Can vampires see daylight or they don't see daylight? I think they don't like daylight. I am not a vampire. Unless, in fact, vampires like daylight, then I am one. But I think they don't. I can't fully remember. I'm usually better at recalling random bits of information, but it's been a long week. Even though it's, as I'm recording this Wednesday. But then here's the thing. Tomorrow's Thursday, and then Thursday's pretty much Friday. And then Friday, I'm going to start acting like Friday's the weekend because people are acting like Sunday is no longer the weekend. I've seen so many people lately, like on a Sunday morning, and they're actually, that's such a lie, like 2 people. I don't see many people. But I've heard a couple of times the last few Sundays, like, oh, I can't believe the weekend's already over. And it's like, well, no, the weekend's not over. We have like a full day. Like, it's only Sunday. It's the August effect. When people are like, I can't believe summer's ending. It's like, no, summer is actually like another month and a half. Really a month and 3/4, depending on which point of August you're in. So I think that's the message I want to relay today. Sunday is still fully the weekend. However, if we're going to act like Sunday's not the weekend, I'm going to start acting like Friday is. Which might be how people act anyway. So maybe I'll just do that. But you know what? I've come to the conclusion, I'm just going to be normal. I'm just going to copy everyone else. I think that's so much easier. I've tried so hard to be a trendsetter, and be an influencer. And so I'm just going to follow the tide or whatever. Is that a saying? I'm just going to go with the tide. I'm going to try that. That's going to be my actual New Year's resolution. Like, just be a follower. Again, I feel like you could listen to this episode as like, there's ulterior motives. There's really not. there's not. For some reason, even to my own self, this episode is reading a little bit as like cultish, and I don't mean it to be. So just stopping the rumors before they start. But I'm gonna go, and I'm maybe gonna have a Reese's peanut butter cup because I want to, and I hope everyone has a great week. I will be following up on your week next week. Next week will be past halfway through November, which is even, like, that is just nuts. So I look forward to it. And I hope I have some new holiday food reviews for you. Maybe I'll try the not new, but returning festive chicken sandwich from KFC. That last year I found to be a little bit dry. Stuffing wasn't great, but, you can't win them all. Maybe they fixed it. I don't know. Speaking of Popeyes, if you're listening, Popeyes Canada, can you bring back the red beans and rice, please? I just found out that you got rid of those. And, it might have taken me 6 months to realize that. So it's like, how strong of a relationship did I have to these rice and beans? I thought great. But it's like when you didn't know that your friend got married, and it's like, well, they got married 6 months ago and I didn't know. So it's like, can I really be mad? Like, are we that good of friends? It's kind of that, but like, I'm mad. So I would like it to return. Just putting it out there. Anyway, I'm going to go freeze my muffins. And, everyone run to Costco before it's too late. That should really be my sign off. Have a great day. Thank you for listening. You can go to www.podcastnobodyaskforthis.podbean.com to get all of our links, Spotify, Apple, everywhere. And run to Costco before it's too late. Thank you. Bye.